Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Oh, afternoon, yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant John Fanning, Fanning, by the Massachusetts State Police.
How long have you been employed by the Massachusetts State Police?
19 years.
And you said your current rank is lieutenant.
Yes,
How long have you been a lieutenant?
since December of 2021.
And what is your current assignment?
I'm currently assigned to the Norfolk State Police Detective Unit as the executive officer.
And what are your responsibilities as the executive officer?
I handle administrative duties, operations. I'm a supervisor in the homicide unit. I also supervise the white-collar crime, sexual assault, and computer crimes troopers that are within our office.
And how long have you been assigned to the Norfolk Detective Unit?
13 years.
Directing your attention to May 15th, 2020, did you become involved with an investigation regarding Dover and the towns of Dover and Dedham?
Yes, I did.
And what was your rank at that point in time?
I was a sergeant.
And as a sergeant, what was your responsibility at that point in time?
I was a supervisor in the homicide unit, so we alternated duties weeks on and off with other supervisors, where we would cover a week of call, and we have troopers that are on call 24 hours a day, 365 days.
And who was your supervisor?
Lieutenant Jerry Metalliano.
So on the 15th, what, if anything, did you do with regard to the investigation in Dover and Dedham?
So on May 15th, 2020, I was notified by a Dedham detective that they were investigating a missing persons that initiated in Dover, but they had involvement at a hotel in Dedham. The detective directed me that one of the persons involved, Ingolf Turk, goes by Harry, was at the hospital, at Norwood Hospital, along with Detective Gonski from Dedham Police Department. This was in the early afternoon hours, I would say 1 to 2 p.m.
And where were you at this point in time?
I was at the Canton office.
And so what, if anything, did you do?
I went right to Norwood Hospital and met with Detective Gonski. Simultaneously, I was notifying Trooper Kakowski, who was being assigned the case. He was coming back from the State Police training at the State Police Academy. I told him to head home, change, and then give me a call, likely heading towards Dover. I met with Detective Gonski.
Is this at Norwood Hospital?
This was at Norwood Hospital, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did she give you anything?
She did. She gave me the phone that belonged to Harry.
And what, if anything, did you do with regard to that?
I had that phone transported back to our Canton office
And what was the purpose of that?
for preservation.
And what, if anything, else did you do at Norwood Hospital?
After learning of the defendant's condition at that time, he was unconscious. We had really no information as to what his condition was, other than that he was unconscious, and it was in the midst of COVID. There was no one that we were going to speak to at the hospital. We left contact information there, but my next call was to Chief McGowan at Dover Police Department, which at that time he was at 29 Valley Road in Dover.
And did you give any instructions?
I did. I spoke with the chief briefly about information that they had gathered to that point, and I told him to secure the home, freeze the scene, pending a search warrant.
Okay, and then what, if anything, did you do next?
From there, I went to 29 Valley Road in Dover. I then I also started calling troopers within our office to have them also to start heading to that location. I arrived at 29 Valley Road, met with the chief. Simultaneously, troopers from my office are starting to arrive. I'm sending them out on a canvassing mission, also a search mission, looking for video surveillance. I also had a K-9 trooper from the state police respond to the scene, and I gave them a little gist of what we knew at that time and had them start conducting a search.
All right, what, if anything, did you do after that?
At that point there, again, the house is frozen. We have troopers canvassing, looking for video surveillance. We have a K-9 searching the exterior. I had learned about a call, a person by the name Kurt Fannenstyle, that he got this text from Harry around 4 a.m. that morning. This is what kind of prompted these calls to go out. We had an address for Kurt, and it was close by to the residence. I asked the chief if he could accompany me. All my troopers were busy doing canvassing. If we can stop by there before we head back to the Dover police to talk with Kurt.
And did you go to Kurt Fannenstyle's home
I did.
with Chief McGowan?
Yes,
All right, and were you able to speak with Mr. Fannenstyle?
I was.
And did he show you anything while you were there?
He just showed me text between himself and Harry.
Okay. And after speaking with him, what, if anything, did you do?
Well, I told Kurt before we left that we'll have troopers, we'll probably have them come back to Dover PD in a little bit to conduct a more formal interview. And then from there, we went off to Dover PD Police Department, myself and the chief.
And what, if anything, did you do while you were at the Dover Police Station?
So once we got to Dover, that was kind of our command post in a sense as to working on this missing persons. I had troopers out, Dover Police had officers out conducting interviews, so we were waiting for them to finish and rally back at Dover Police Department. Simultaneously, Trooper Kakowski comes back, who's assigned the case officer. He meets back at Dover Police, and at that time, we're just trying to figure out who do we need to interview quickly. And so we start coordinating those types of interviews. We also have Trooper Kakowski starting to write the search warrant for the Valley Drive residents. I'm sorry, Valley Road residents, and also items in Dedham.
Conduct any interviews yourself at that time?
I had a brief conversation with Stephen Rocca, who was the kid's father. Again, just get some preliminary information. Once I had a location on him, I sent 2 troopers out to interview him.
And was there anything else that you requested while you were at the Dover Police Station?
So a little bit earlier to that, I had Trooper Ed Keefe, who does a lot of forensic work with us, mobile forensics, computer forensics. I asked him if he could re-request the pings on an exigent circumstances.
You say re-request. Why do you say re-request?
It was my understanding that either Dover or Dedham had already requested pings on Katie McLean's phone.
And why were you re-requesting the pings?
Because I wanted to see the information, see if anything had changed from the time that they requested it and we requested it. And quite frankly, we always verify our information, and it's just better for me to get the information myself and have my people process it.
And did you obtain information once you requested the ping?
We did.
And generally, what information was provided to you?
They're just, there's a series of records that are provided when you do a ping or anything called detail records, cell site like location information. But ultimately, if the phone is on and active and there's either calls being made or data being transferred, so this information hits a tower either through call, SMS, or data. Those are the 3 streams that would hit a tower. Typically, we stick to calls and SMS. That will plot out points historically. It's not live time that we get this information. It's all historical. So if we ask for a requested period of time, you could get hundreds of hits on a tower, or you could get 3 or 4 if the phone's off, or, so you only get it if the phone's on. I just looked at those points on a map. There's a whole sequence of events you have to do to just look at those. And they were in and around the Valley Road address. So they were consistent with the area around Valley Road in Dover.
All right.
And there was only maybe 3 or 4, it was under 10 hits that we could look at on a map.
To what extent does geography play a role in your ability to utilize information that you receive from a ping?
It gets a little bit into radio frequency, can travel for a good distance. Certainly buildings, hills, we don't have many mountains around here, but things like that can certainly change frequency. I think the easiest way to explain it is everyone's phones that are here have a tower that they want to use right now, an antenna that your phone's looking to use. And then it's mapping a second and a third tower in case you move or you're on the move. That would continue from here down 95 if we were driving on the highway, that your phone's continuously doing that. So the phone can change between antennas that it likes to use, and some of it can due to weather, some of it could be due to use, buildings, hills, things like that. Distance certainly plays a factor into it.
All right. And is it fair to say that at a certain point, search warrants were obtained for 29 Valley Road and other locations?
Yes, and previous to that, based on those ping hits, I contacted another state police canine to start working on another search area. We also started planning for a full grid search with our special emergency response team for the following morning. That would have been May 16th. So we got those things planned while we were writing the search warrant and prior to having it signed and executed.
And were you present when the search warrant was executed at 29 Valley Road?
I was.
And was that in the early morning hours of May 16th?
It was.
Directing your attention to later on May 16th, what, if anything, did you do later in the day?
We had the special emergency response team kick off in the morning, gave them a briefing around 8 to 9 a.m. They started off on their search, grid search. In the meantime, Trooper Kakowski went back to Norwood Hospital. We were told that Harry was awake and alert, so we had Trooper Kakowski there. We had troopers conducting different things during the day.
At a certain point in time, well, throughout the day, were you in touch with Trooper Katkowski?
I was.
And directing your attention to the evening time, were you aware at a certain point in time that Trooper Katkowski and Dedham detectives were able to speak with Dr. Herrick?
Yes.
Okay. At a certain point in time, did Trooper Katkowski reach out to you with information?
He did.
And what, if anything, happened after that?
He given me a description of.
So objection, what happened after that?
Okay. All right. Sustain. Ask it again.
What, if anything, did you do after speaking with Trooper Katkowski?
I went to 1 Francis Street in Dover.
Did you go alone or with anyone else?
I went with Chief McGowan, Sergeant Mayow, and Officer Sullivan. Those 3 are all from Dover Police.
And did you utilize information that Trooper Katkowski provided you with?
I did.
And did you share that information with the Dover police officers?
I had explained the information that was given to me by Trooper Kakowski to the Dover Police. They directed me to 1 Francis Street. We took 2.
And where did you go at 1 Francis Street?
I pulled right into the driveway at 1 Francis,
How far up did you go the driveway?
nearly up to the garage.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, who did you say was present?
Chief McGowan from Dover Police, Sergeant Mayow from Dover Police, and Officer Sullivan from Dover.
Okay. And where, if anywhere, did you go?
We split up into 2 groups. If you, I guess the easiest way to explain it is if you split the pond in half, Chief McGowan and Sergeant Mayow went to the left, myself and Officer Sullivan went to the right, and we were just going to cover the pond that way. But to give you a visual, I'm heading back to what would be in front of the house at 1 Francis Street, where the chief and the sergeant are heading back towards more the main road.
And can you describe the lighting conditions?
It was dark, overgrown, thorns, bushes, trees down. It was not an easy area to walk through. I stayed very close to the shoreline.
And how were you able to see?
Flashlight.
And at a certain point, were you able to observe anything from the shoreline?
I was within a couple, 2 to 3 minutes. I could see at the time I was maybe 30 feet from, because I was scanning the water with my flashlight. I could see something that clearly stood out to be consistent with a body.
And could you see whether the body was, could you see the condition of the body?
I moved closer to the closest point from the shore to the body. I could then tell from there clearly that it was a body. I could see an upper torso that was exposed. The body was face down. I probably had a better description of the body once it came out of the water. But at that time, I could see what I would describe as black pants, upper torso, dark hair, face down.
And could you tell if the person was alive or deceased at that point?
Deceased.
And in general, what section of the pond were you in?
I would have been, if you were standing on the front steps of the house that faces out towards the pond, probably at maybe 1 or 2 o'clock from the house, almost directly in front of the house, just maybe a little bit off to the right.
And so after observing the body, what, if anything, did you do?
From there, I contacted the state police dive team, which would assist with the removal of the body. I then also contacted crime scene services to have them start bringing a trooper that could document the scene. And then I also notified the medical examiner's office.
And what, if anything, was done with the body by the dive team?
So it took a little bit for the dive team and crime scene services to arrive, but eventually the dive team got there. They suit up in gear that they can wade through cold water. The body was approximately 15 to 20 feet out. It was roughly in 3 or 4 feet of water. And they basically bring the body back onto the shore. They had a blue tarp set out, and they placed the victim face down.
And can you describe the body at that point in time?
The body was, again, there was nothing on the upper torso. There was no shirt on the upper torso. I noticed 2 large rocks in what I would describe as black yoga pants. It seemed like there was one in the front, one in the back. Once the body was turned over, again, I observed what I believe to be another rock in the front of the pants, nothing on the upper torso, darkish hair, and then when I looked a little bit closer, I did identify it as, the body as Kathleen McLean. There was debris on her body, soot from the pond, dirt, dust. Her body was, I would say, well preserved, and it just had pruning, as if you were in a bathtub for too long and you get prune skin. That's how I would describe the condition of her body.
After noting that Kathleen McLean did not have a shirt on, did you make any observations in the wooded area?
I did, and this would have been between the time I notified crime scene services and the MSP dive team. I started searching around the area, not too far from where I saw the body. I found a black, at the time, it looked like a black shirt. It was kind of hooked on a tree that had fallen down, kind of got caught on maybe like what was a branch at one time. So I made sure that we documented that. When crime scene showed up, they documented the shirt. Eventually, once we removed it, we realized it was a black tank top style shirt.
All right. And so did crime scene services troopers document through photos the scene at 1 Francis Street?
They did. The body, the scene, the shirt. And we also took photos the next day on May 16th under daylight conditions.
All right, so jurors, the Commonwealth is about to introduce into evidence through this witness some additional photographs showing Ms. McLean. You'll have these photographs with you in connection with the witness's testimony and during your deliberations. The photographs are not pleasant. They may be described as graphic. I instruct you that your verdict must not in any way be influenced by the fact that these photographs may be unpleasant or graphic. The defendant is entitled to a verdict based solely on the evidence and not one based on pity or sympathy for the decedent, which might be occasioned by these photographs. Consider the photographs only as they may draw attention to a clinical medical status or to the nature of the injuries or to the nature of the incident itself.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could we please have the lights off and we have exhibit 119, please? Lieutenant, can you tell us what is in exhibit 119?
1 Francis Street.
120, please. What is in 120?
You're heading towards the pond is kind of in that wooded area to the left, almost directly in front of the house.
121, please. What's in 121?
Again, that's the pond behind those trees.
And 122, please. What is in 122?
This would be a picture from the driveway. The house would be to my back right if I was in this picture, and you're again facing towards the pond.
123, please. What is 123?
Again, from the woods facing towards the pond.
124, please. What's in 124?
This would be with the pond to our back and left, back towards the house.
125, please. What is in 125?
The pond.
And does this also fairly and accurately depict the brush and the trees and the foliage during this time, during May of 2020?
Yes.
Okay, we have 126, please, or 27, sorry. What's in 127?
Again, facing the pond.
128, please. What's in 128?
The pond, you can start to see it there a little bit.
And where in the photograph can you see it a little bit?
Well, I guess where the trees end there. And just a little bit off to the left here. So we're kind of on the shoreline. Sorry, that's probably the best way to describe it.
And we have 129, please.
So,
See in 129.
yeah, and that, I guess, black space behind those trees is the pond.
Is there a laser pointer up there with you?
Oh, okay.
Can you use that?
Sorry about that. Shoreline here. Pond back here.
All right. And is it fair to say that it's dark in this photograph?
Can you say that again?
Is it fair to say that it's dark in the photograph?
Yes.
And is was the crime scene photographer using flash at certain points?
Yes, you wouldn't be able to see if you didn't have a flashlight out here. There was not much ambient light otherwise.
Ms. Gilman, is this 129? Could we please have 130? And what is this showing?
Again, right from the shoreline looking out to that pond.
131, please? What is in 131?
The shoreline.
132, please? What's in 132?
That's the black tank top style T-shirt that I observed and then recovered.
And is that the area where it was located when you first saw it?
That's where I saw it, exactly right there.
On that tree?
You could see it's caught on that branch.
133, please? What can we see in 133?
Well, that's clearly the pond out there. I can't really see if I'm picking up on anything else but the pond.
Could I just have 1 minute, Your Honor, please?
Yes.
Please have 134.
The pond.
And 135, please. Where's 135?
So that's where I see Katie's body for the, roughly, that's what I saw the first time I observed Katie's body.
And we have 136, please. What is this?
That's Katie's body once she was pulled out of the water.
Okay, and then this 136, how is she facing?
She's face down, and you can observe that there's a large lump in the back in the yoga pants that turned out to be a rock.
And 137, please. What does this show?
Upper torso and head, debris on the back.
138, please. What is that a photograph of?
That large rock inside the back of the yoga pants.
139, please. What is in 139?
The second rock that was in the front of the yoga pants. A little bit of a upper torso.
Is this face up now?
It is.
140, please. What's in 140?
The upper torso and head with her hair covering her face.
141, please.
That's the shirt that we recovered.
142, please. I'm sorry, is that 142, Ms. Dillon?
That is 142.
Okay, 143, please. What's in 143?
The shirt that we recovered.
And 144, please. That is a different shot of the shirt.
Yes.
145, please.
That's just the shirt with the and the pond in the backdrop.
And 146, please. What is that photograph?
After we recovered it off that branch, that's what it looked like.
Okay, it's spread out in that photograph.
Yes.
And so you said that the next day you returned to 1 Francis Street.
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that?
To take the photographs in daylight conditions. It was really dark. There's things we could have missed. Also to conduct a search if there was anything that we missed in that area.
Okay. And were there further photographs that were taken?
Yes.
Were there any additional items that were collected?
No.
Okay. Ms. Gilman, could you please have exhibit 309, please? And what is in 309?
That's the entrance to 1 Francis Street.
And are these series of photographs the daytime photographs?
They are.
Okay. 310, please. What can be seen in 310?
Driveway and pond of 1 Francis Street.
And 311, please. What is 311?
Did the photo change? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. One moment.
Is this 311? Yes. Okay, thank you. What's in 311?
Driveway, 1 Francis Street. That's similar to the photo that was taken the previous night.
312, please. What can be seen in 312?
Pond is basically off to your left here, 1 Francis Street off to the right. This is kind of the wooded area leading up to the pond.
And 313, please. What can we see in 313?
Closer image of the previous picture. It's hard to tell if I can see the pond from here, but it's just a close-up of the previous picture.
Okay. And what's the ground between the trees in this picture?
How would I describe it?
Yes.
Brush, thorns, a lot of down trees, branches. It's not like cleared out like as if you had a pond front property or something. It's a pond, and I would describe as what the usual things that lead up to a pond. There weren't paths through there, or things like that.
Was there a mulch parking spot kind of area in 2020?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
That's heading directly, that's the pond, and then heads back out to the main street, but the pond is basically behind those trees there.
315. What is that a picture of?
The ground?
And what else can we see?
Thorn bush?
Okay. And I think you testified earlier, were there thorn bushes in that area in
Yes.
2020?
Lot of thorns.
We have 317, please. What is that?
The pond,
Can I see a 316 or so? Okay, thanks. What is it, 316?
the pond, again, looks to be the area where we may have recovered Katie.
Just using the laser pointer, can you point to the general area?
So she was brought in here, and I'd say right in that area there.
318.
Just a closer shot of the water.
319, please.
Different shot of the water, but you can see the grass and petals there where she was close to.
320, please. What is in 320?
This looks like the shoreline towards where Katie was.
And 321? What is in 321?
Same, same.
322?
Again, it's the same. It could be where the shirt was recovered the previous night.
Okay. 323? What is in 323?
This is Kurt Fannin Styles' house. I believe it's on Walpole Street in Dover.
And where is that in relationship to 1 Francis?
Basically a butts.
If we could have the lights back on, please. There's gloves in front of you. All right, I'm handing you a brown paper bag. Contents, please. Hold it up, please. And what is that item?
This is the black tank top style shirt that we recovered in front of 1 Francis that night.
And then was it placed in that brown paper bag?
It was.
All right, I'd ask you to put it back in the brown paper bag. And I don't know if I said this, Your Honor, there's an exhibit sticker on it.
Hold on.
No objection, Mr. Reddington?
308.
It's marked as 308.
Okay.
And is there some writing on this?
There is.
Is your name on this?
This is, yes, and this is my writing.
The date and the time?
Yes, May 16th, 2020. 0335. It's through the red tape, so it's difficult to read, but it's my writing, signature, location found 1 Francis Street, Dover, near pond in shoreline where body was found.
I have no further questions at this time.
Okay. Do you want to just take that back? Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions.
Evan Walsh, please, at this time.